All right, ladies, let's get
I like
started.
it.
It is officially 5 after. Welcome to Minding Her Black Business Brunch and Build podcast, hosted by myself. My name is Kyra Lee and Miss Erica Beal, joining us from Metropolitan Detroit. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you today.
Super excited to have you guys. So, we always start off every podcast with an update on your favorite nonprofit organization and sisterhood. Our global footprint continues to expand. We have 108 cities worldwide located within this membership, and you all are each a part of that success. So, thank you so much. We'll start with our state roll call. To date, we have Arizona, California, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Kansas, Maryland, Michigan,
Whoop,
Missouri,
whoop, whoop,
New
whoop.
Jersey, right? New York, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. represented. So thank you so much, Black women of the states, for showing up. And then we take it one step further. Beyond the United States, we also have sisters hailing from Canada, Nigeria, the UAE, Brazil, South Africa, the UK, Barbados, and Ghana. So as we continue to expand and you all are doing amazing things all over the world, continue to connect with one another because you definitely have a home here from everywhere.
Yes.
Getting to today's Know Her Name feature, we have Tia Lyles-Williams in the building on today's podcast, hailing from Philly, New Jersey, right? Philly, New Jersey combination as the founder and CEO of Lucas Pie Bio. Welcome, Tia.
Come on in,
For
sis.
having me. And I was born in Gary, Indiana, raised in Houston, Texas. And then my immediate family, I went to high schools in Atlanta, Georgia. So I done been around a little bit.
Love,
Okay.
love
A
it.
lot of it, I should say. Yeah. So no, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Let's get into it. Let's talk. What's up? What we today? I'm
Let's get
ready.
started with the main event. You are the first African American queer woman to be an owner of a biotech manufacturing company, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How do we get here? Tell me all about it. I want to know from playing with the kids all the way to the high school conversation through to Howard University and arriving here. What happened? How do we get into this?
It's a lot that happened
A
in
lot. I
between
want
that, but we'll start from the beginning, as you
the
say,
yes.
playing with the kids. So I would have to say it started with my mom first when we moved to Houston. That's when my sister was born. So my sister's only a year. But to that end, we were homeschooled before homeschool was even thought of. So we had a schedule every day. I can remember starting at 3 years old. We had a full school day. Just if we was in school of her teaching us all the basics, ABCs, one, two, threes, spelling of words, all that good stuff. So by the time I went to go start school, she put me in private school, a school called Heritage Christian Academy. It was in what they call it, Missouri City part of Houston, Texas, if I pronounced it right, if I can remember correctly. So I'm sure there's still some Heritage Christian Academy people out there. It was a 7-day, black 7-day Adventist school. We weren't 7-day Adventists, but I went to school there from kindergarten till about second grade. I went there for a long time, and so I actually started kindergarten at 4 years old because of all the stuff my mom had worked with me. When we transitioned to public school, I was in third grade, and my sister was in first grade. Her and I were very much ahead of the game on a lot of things, so they helped us out a lot. We ended up moving to Atlanta for my high school career, and so science was something that I was good at. Well, when your parents say you're good at something, you automatically like, well, I ain't doing that then.
Absolutely.
I'm doing something else, right? Just out of spite, whether you like it or not, right? And so when I graduated high school, was trying to figure out what school I was going to go to. She actually convinced me to apply to Howard because I had several family members that went to Howard with me. So I had one named Callie Merritt, and I'm sorry because I know you're married. I don't remember your last name, so I'm going by your family name. And she's a big time exec for Google out in Kansas City. So she went to Howard. She's also AKA, I think she's about the same age as Kamala. And then I had another cousin a lot bit older than that, and she was there, who's also a AKA, ironically. So no, I'm not an AKA or any of the sororities, but I did do a lot of work with the Delta Sigma Theta sorority up until a few years ago when I moved back to the East Coast.
Okay.
So we did that, went to Howard. First year, I went in undecided. My family looking at me like I was crazy. And so then I went on and, majored in science and was originally pre-med. But during that time, I did a lot of internships. So I had an internship at NIH that was supposed to be a week. It turned into a month. It was a dope experience. From there, I did a internship with Walter Reed. And prior to that, I did one at Howard University Cancer Center. Excuse me. So I've been all the way around. The one at Walter Reed happened like my last year at Howard. I was getting ready to graduate. So this is the Walter Reed, the naval base in Silver Spring, Maryland, not the hospital off Georgia Ave. Big difference. So I did that, and then it was time for me to go and spread my wings into the corporate world. And so I started my career in human genome sciences right in Rockville, Maryland, which is now GSK. Gained a lot of insights and mentors and all that. And then unfortunately, I ended up getting sick. So I have a chronic migraine condition that I still take medication for to this day. But at the time when I got diagnosed, stuff was crazy. So I took time off, went to stay with my parents in Atlanta for literally a year on the nose. So let me tell y'all, when you ain't been living with your parents, now mind you, I graduated high school at 17. Okay, so my mom was terrified leaving me in DC, what it was then, not the gentrification that y'all see now, what it was then, right? And so she was terrified, but basically since 17, I have been living on my own, right? Dorms, apartments, whatever was going on. Going home was a rude awakening. So I lasted a year on the nose. I even tried to move out while I was there. It didn't work out. I had to move right back in. And then as soon as the doctor gave me the clearance and everything was good, I left. I moved to LA, followed my friends from Howard to LA. Most of my friends are in TV and film, and they're very successful, still working in the industry, doing well for themselves today. So I moved to LA. It took me about a year and a half to get back in biotech. So I dabbled in the music industry and doing some marketing stuff for them. Met a lot of great people, worked with a lot of great people. But when it came time, the biotech was still calling me, so I missed it. So once I got cleared and everything was good, I went running back to it and restarted my career at Amgen. If you know anything about Amgen, Amgen was the one that came up with the novel breast cancer drug back in the, I want to say late 80s, early 90s, or maybe a little bit before that. So I worked with them for a year. They did not. So now we on this topic, right? I got there. Of course, I still had all my credentials from coming from the East Coast. And even with that, they said I was not qualified. So they refused to hire me. And then guess what? This is the kicker. They didn't tell me that they weren't going to give me a permanent job until literally a week and a half that they were going to be putting me out. Okay. So luckily I had a good team lead named Carlos. I forget Carlos' last name, but shout out to Carlos. He is still there working to this day, doing his thing. He has a beautiful family, and he's a twin. So they both have beautiful families, and they all work at Amgen. Okay. So he looked out for me and connected me with one of his buddies that was literally across the street at Baxter, another big biotech company. And I got the job on contract, but then I ended up getting it full time later. But the kicker was, as soon as I got the job at Baxter, then here go Andrew talking about, oh, we'll extend your contract another year. And then you also told me that you were disappointed I never interviewed for any of the jobs. I applied for interviews for all the jobs, only got picked for one. And then I lost to a Caucasian guy that was fresh out of college with no experience. Okay. So that's the set of this thing going on. Yes. So I get to Baxter, and let me know if this is too long. Well,
no, not at all.
So I get to Baxter, and they kept their promise with making me permanent, doing well. Another thing that we had talked about with the HR team at the time, they had a what they call a entry-level management type program. So with Baxter's a big company too, a global company. And at the time they had this program where you come in, if you was fresh out of college or whatever, you did like a tour, all right? Meaning you may work in one department at one location for about 8 to 12 months, and you had to do 3 rotations. And then, they'll transfer, you go work in another part. So kind of you can see all different sides of an interview, and you automatically go in as a supervisor, okay? Drink some water. This is where you're crazy. They, I had all this experience, and this black girl come here and she knows her stuff and she's doing great. So when the opportunity came for them to accept applications, I applied, right? So I applied. Well, I didn't know I caused such a ruckus by applying to, get myself ahead, have myself an opportunity to better life in the corporate world.
Yeah.
And so when I applied, it was a big thing. I got called into the office by this lady who's my mentor now. Sarah, what's up, Sarah? So she called me, so she's like, Tia, is everything okay? Are you not, is things not going well? And I'm like, yeah, like, what's the problem? I had no idea what the problem was, right? So she's like, oh, well, you applied to this program. We just hope that you would go through more of a traditional track and, get promoted into the supervisor position instead of doing this.
Wow.
Wow.
Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, well, this is a discussion I had with HR, right? This discussion I had with HR, so, I assumed I'd be able to apply and go through this program. No, I think you just better wait, da, 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 da. Now, I don't think she had anything behind it. I think she was just more looking out for me, doing her job, and thought she was doing the right thing. But the other cats knew what they was doing. So let me tell y'all Black people something. It is great that we work harder than our peers, that we study outside the work to learn the business of whatever industry we work in and try to get ahead. But if you don't get your head out of the book and pay attention, you're going to miss out. To your peers who are not reading the book. They're making whatever they making. Let's say they make this, what the hell is this hand sanitizer, right?
Yeah.
They make this hand sanitizer and you learn and you know how to make it well. You know everybody's role on the manufacturing floor, right? Because now you become a commodity. Right? Now we can't have you come off the manufacturing floor because we know that if Tia's on the floor when this sanitizer is being made, everything runs smoothly. It runs so smooth that we don't even need a supervisor on the floor. Supervisor can sit on their ass at their desk, right? As long as we keep Tia on the floor and we know she likes a lot of responsibilities, so not only is she managing the floor without the title, without the pay, she's also doing extra work without the title, without the pay, without the recognition. Okay? So then you find out, you're like, well, hell, how Bill and Joe over here get their ass promoted? This motherfucker that lost drugs. Like, he hit a button and shit went down the toilet twice. How did he get the promotion? Right? So you had these conversations with your boss and you're going to get the same excuse. Oh, you're not ready yet. Oh, you need to show some leadership skills. What you're doing on the floor is great, right? So these are the conversations you're going to have. So I say that to say, get your head out the book. Or if you want me to say it very plain, right? Get your head out your ass. You can only be in school and only read so many books for so long. If you don't start executing and putting it to implementation on the information that you're reading and researching about, you are not going to get anywhere. And here's the kicker. You don't even need permission. You don't need permission from anybody to go do what you want to do. And I learned that at Baxter very, very quickly. I've learned it before, but I really learned it here at Baxter. So I looked around, all these people getting promoted. There's a position for overnight graveyard shift supervisor come up, right? Like, with Tia, we don't have anybody for that yet. Can you go, the graveyard shift and work, get everything, and then, you'll be considered a candidate for that interview for that position. You'll probably get it. Now, what we do, Black people? Okay, boss. I go. Mind you, I had no leadership at nighttime, right? So that means what happens? Tia has to sit there, create the whole plan of operations, schedules, all this shit without the pay or the recognition. Not even my manager 2 levels up knew what the fuck to do. And I previously worked with him at Andrew. So he knew that I knew that he was some bullshit. But I ain't say nothing. I work with him. Cool. Yeah. Get all this shit together. Everything's going great. Oh, da-da-da-da. Comes time, now they want to fill in the supervisor position. I interview one of my peers on the day shift who don't do shit interviews. Okay. Yeah. And then, just earlier we were talking about your label, your logo, right? About what it means to be Black and a Black woman, how we have all these things in our Black community. This is one of these examples. This guy is half Black, hair more wound up than mine, even when it's cut, okay? But this motherfucker thought he was white, and they treated him as such, okay? So he didn't have to do shit, literally. He come to work, he one night, he go sit his ass back down, he done for the whole 12 hours, 10 hours, however long we work. So I'm interviewing against him. I'm like, oh, this is a shoo-in. He ain't gonna do shit. And these other cats are coming from this program that y'all told me not to apply to because it wasn't worth my time. So there's no way that I'm not getting this job, right? Mind you, I was on graveyard for 6 months. When I say graveyard, people, this is from 7:30 p.m. to 3:30 in the morning is when I got off work. Okay, I go do the interview in the daytime after I've worked overnight. We go through all process. Here comes another lady of color. She's a senior manager from that program. I'm thinking that me and her are gonna have some type of bond over being women in this industry and people of color. She's not Black, but she's a person of color. And I don't want to mistake her color sometimes. I don't know what it is. So we go through the interview process. Do you know she didn't ask me not one interview question? She's sitting there trying to get dirt on my boss, which is one below her. Then ask one damn interview question.
Usury.
Right. Now I done did every interview with everybody else. She's supposed to be like one of the last people, and everybody else is giving me rave reviews. Tia's great. She got it. Blah blah blah. I get to her. She want dirt. So I feed her a little something. I'm waiting on these questions. They never came. So then I get back a couple days, about a week later. My boss, the one she wanted to get dirt from, the one that I know ain't shit that I used to work with at Amsterdam. He's talking to me. He calls me up from the manufacturing floor and he says, Tia, unfortunately, you know, we're not going to be able to go with you for the job. We need to, you know, these people went through this program and their first priority for this role. However, you know, we just want to make sure that you're happy and that you're not going to leave. I got kind of looking at y'all like this. Y'all, oh damn, Tia done went through all that and now she ain't get the job. Hell no. Tia had already interviewed with 3 other companies and had already got one.
Yes.
So when he
and I want you to stay so I can keep using you. Come on now.
By the role at the next company.
Yeah.
Done. All I was doing was just wait for the right time to give them my papers and for me to sign my what you call it, employment letter, offer letter. So he telling me this, so I just smirk, right? I was like, nah, that's cool, man. That's whatever. I gotta get back down to the manufacturing floor. It's a busy day today. We got something to do. Oh, okay, great. I knew you was a team player.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I was running to work, cheesing. Okay, cheesing. Handed that letter. They looked at me like, fuck. I felt so good, but I also ended up feeling bad. So mind you, I'd been there like 3.5 years, right? I mean, I developed a lot of relationships. A lot of people know me, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Do you know when they did my going away party, none of my immediate management team showed up?
Wow.
Yeah.
Not one.
Not one.
Not one. Peers from other departments, managers from other departments showed up, but none of my white male managers or supervisors, not even the lady that was trying to give dirt on my boss, nobody showed up. Now that's another example that when you working in whatever industry you're in, corporate, whatever, TV, film, I don't care what it is, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Do not worship the team at those respective employers. Always be loyal to yourself. Get your head out your ass and execute the plan the way you need to execute to get where the hell you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like you keep backup plans on backup plans, too.
Oh, always. So we go through all that. I go work for the next company. Everything's good. There's some things that go on. Of course, Black people, what we do, we always want to be Captain Save a Hoe, right? We know what needs to be done. They don't, so I'm going to do it. But again, you're not getting a title. You're not getting a recognition. So people are going to take advantage of that. But at the time, it's a new environment for me, so I'm not even paying attention to that. So then we come down, I get word that this company is bleeding money and they might not be able to make payroll the following month. Okay. Of course, T had a backup plan. I interviewed, got this position in New Hampshire. Didn't want to go, but God was like, no, you got to go. Like, you can pick no other place on the map. That's where you going to send me? New Hampshire?
Listening in, I have to say.
I got ready to leave. It's come down.
East Coast, New Hampshire doesn't have a lot of Black people. That's not a place that Black people run to, just to be clear.
Right.
Very clear, okay? I only lasted a year, Okay.
Mm.
Yes.
On my way of doing this transition and getting ready to leave and move California, where I've been living, I think 8.5, 9 years at this point, right? By that time, I was in Orange County, so I felt like I had made it. Nice little luxury apartment, the restaurants on the beach. I pull up, they know who I am, right? I done built this life for myself.
Yeah.
Single, I'm just whatever shoes, whatever shit I want. I'm just bam, 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 bam. Wherever I want to travel, goes on bam, 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 bam. Right? This little life I done built myself out in Orange County with our white cousins. So it comes time, and now it's getting close. I tell my team, you know, I'm getting ready to leave, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, y'all need to have some backup plans, right? So I was like, listen, it ain't looking so good, so y'all want to make sure y'all get a job. Now, mind you, we know anything about whatever industry, who's always making the actual product? It's always somebody of color, right? So in my industry, it's always Black and brown people on the manufacturing floor. The only time I saw a slew of white people in the manufacturing was when I had taken my ass to New Hampshire.
Wow.
So I'm looking at them in California before I leave. I'm like, all right, well, one of my old, you know, he was my direct boss, but now he's head of this program at this other company. I can get y'all some jobs, but this is what I need y'all to do. Do this to your resume, be ready for these questions, blah, blah, blah. So I prep everybody. I get everybody hired except for maybe 1 or 2 people on my team before I leave. When I leave, not even 2 to 3 weeks later, they fired my whole damn department.
Mm.
What they did not know is I had already got my people jobs.
Yeah.
It was
Yes, advocacy. Yes, advocacy.
great. Okay.
Yes.
And they got like double pay, right? Because you had the severance pay from that company, and then they had a couple more weeks till they started the next company. So it was like a nice paid vacation for them before they started the company. So I feel good. I pat myself back, right? I'm in New Hampshire. And when I did the interview, everything was like Christmas. Oh, this is great, and we need more diversity, and blah, 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 blah. Well, once everything was done, a moving truck packed up and took his ass on, now we get into the real. Okay?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
now people starting to show their colors. Some people, you know, trying to be courteous or whatever. The shit is just not working out. And I can't go into details, but now we got a case with them. So I'll leave that there.
Okay.
So I leave. And my girlfriend at the time lived in Jersey, so that's how I ended up moving to Jersey. And then I had a job in Philly, so I'm used to driving long distances or whatever, so it's on like an 1.5-hour drive. But when you work in biotech, your job is always way out, right? They don't put manufacturing directly in the city. Okay. So I get there, I'm working there. Just put a pause there. The company in New Hampshire was supposed to be my last job before I started Lupus Pie Bio. That was the agreement that I had with myself and God, right? So when that happened, I'm like, hey, you told me to move here, and I'm not going through all this stuff, and I got to work for the job, and I'm just like, right? I'm like, whatever. So we go, I was like, all right, you know, we'll see. This better be the last one. Well, be careful what you say. I get there on contract, and I'm doing well. History repeats itself. I got somebody that stole my work and presented it in front of our peers live as if he did it. Okay, we got that going. I got my boss that don't know what he's doing. Technically, we're supposed to be side by side, but somehow he becomes my boss. And so we're getting into conversation now, slowly coming out that he doesn't know what he's doing. Now, I didn't prepare myself for all this shit throughout this trial and tribulation, right? I've been at multiple companies. You know, I had a degree from Howard. Howard don't care if your mom or your grandma die.
These are facts.
Right.
You don't take shit on time. They take it 10, 15, 20% off. I don't care. Right. So that's why us Howard people know how to maneuver very, very well when the bullshit comes along. So I got that degree. Right. I had a business degree that I got from Full Sail and entertainment business while working in the entertainment world to give myself the credibility in that, but it was also business, so it fit. And then last but not least, I had just wrapped up my degree program that I was doing at USC. I wrapped it up online to get my master's in regulatory science. Now that's regulatory science is like a business degree in medicine and medical devices and food, and how you transition from a clinical or non-developed market, however you want to call it, research and development, and getting into the commercial market and working with FDA or US version of EMA or China's version of CFDA global, whatever. Okay. So when I get to jazz and all this stuff coming out, and I'm using more of my skill set for regulatory science, now that becomes a threat and a problem for me to them. So when it came time to interview for the permanent role, I'm like, oh, well, this role is for what the shit I'm already doing. Why wouldn't I get the job? I've proven myself. Why wouldn't you give me the benefits and everything to go with it? Here we go. Do the interview. And it's funny. I guess he's like the vice president of biologics or whatever for this company in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget because I had an interview with him as well. We already had kind of vibe, right? We had the same kind of mindset, whatever. Now, the crazy part is nobody liked him. I was the only one that liked him. Nobody liked him. So when we did the interview, he was like, Tia, you're good. I already know you're good. He's like, but you know, this is not my choice, right? He's like, I want to make sure you understand that, you know, for me, you're good to go, but whoever they pick is out of my hands. I don't make the choice. Okay. Went in one ear, went out one ear. Well, I guess he was giving me a damn clue.
Mm-hmm.
What? I've been doing the job. I've been doing the job since before y'all even came here, that you're all of a sudden, my boss telling me I'm not good for the job, but you've been working with me the whole time. So clock ticking. This is literally last year, around this time. We in September, right? Clock ticking. And October of 2019, it was a wrap. I tried to go get some other jobs. Stuff wasn't working out. And you know, Black people, we ain't getting that check. We panicking like, oh my God.
All right, losing it.
I can't lose my lifestyle. This is how I like to live. I can't be eating noodles. I can't be, you know.
Normal.
So we act like we dying, like we in Roots and got our foot chopped off and shit. We be going crazy for a fucking job. Damn. So I was like, well, you can throw this tantrum like this. You told me this is the last job. So I kept my word. Whether you ready or not.
Come on, Tia.
Ain't nobody hiring you. What you getting ready to do?
What you gonna do?
Right. You've been writing all these beautiful shits to the side and what you getting to do for your company. And you didn't register the name. You done did all this shit. So what you getting ready to do? I'm like, fuck. So
Wow.
the very next week after I got let go on like a Wednesday. The very next week on that Monday was the start of a annual, I guess you call it, conference that they do in Philadelphia for Black and minority businesses, right? And you meet with the city and all these different people that are small business, minority business owners. Well, I went to that shit. I went to that thing. I hope I have uncle, shout out to Aunt Sarah and Uncle Tom. And I stayed with them that week because I was like, well, I gotta control my expenses. I can't be driving back and forth and I can't stay in a hotel. So I stayed at their house for that whole week and I just networked with everybody that week. That was like the best thing I could have did for myself. From that day on, everything's been kind of, I ain't gonna say smooth sailing, but the city of Philadelphia definitely knows my fucking name. They definitely know my business. They also not a fan of Black women being able to raise millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm not saying millions.
Yes, come on, girl.
So
Yes.
our startup cost is $150 million. I already have $50 million raised today with Black Pearl Global Investments, a Black venture capital firm based out of North Carolina and Charlotte. Okay, so I'm saying all these things. I'm letting them know what's going on. Blah 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 blah. And so then, as Black people, again, can I keep your head in the book forever? So as I'm meeting all these people, they're recommending me to go to this and be a part of this group and do this. So I'm just kind of doing as much as I can to get my name out there, realizing that as I go through the process, okay, some of this shit is not applicable to me. So I'm gonna sum this up. Just because Black women are entrepreneurs, not all Black women are entrepreneurs at the same fucking thing.
Okay.
Right? No disrespect to my restaurant owners, to my apparel owners. All of us do not do the same thing. So all the stuff that you do for small businesses to help them out to do those types of things, that's great. But when somebody comes to you with a real business, and I don't mean like a real business like they stuff is not real. I mean an enterprise, that's the better word. An enterprise type business that can bring a lot of jobs and a lot more money to your tax base, then you need to treat them accordingly as if they were somebody like a big name such as a Baxter, Amgen, GSK, take your pick. I'll say Toys R Us, bad example. Microsoft, Microsoft or something like that. Like you need to respect them in that manner and take it seriously, especially if they've already raised a significant amount of money. I have a third of my funding already taken care of, right? So we're having these conversations, and the last, I guess you say, exciting thing I did in 2019, mind, this ain't that long time ago. I did a presentation with the city of Philadelphia with members that are over large manufacturing coming to the city of Philadelphia, members that are specifically over life science companies come to the city of Philadelphia, their nonprofit financial arm, all these great folks. I did not seek them out. I got invited to come pitch my idea, okay? Because they were looking for my type of business and needed to understand it and what was going on, blah, 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 blah. I do the presentation. I had to change my presentation prior to that because the person that got me contacted me on their behalf let me know these are some things they're going to want to hear. So see how you can build this into your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I give them everything they want in my presentation, even rush to get some damn mock-up blueprints for a specific land that they want my business to be in.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff ready. At the end of the presentation, what do? Yeah, this is not going to work, and this is not going to work, and this is not going to work. I mean, great presentation. And, you know, you really do. This is very big business for you to come out as a business owner to do. You know, good luck. You know, with raising your financing, and you know, I don't know if we can take a chance on you because you're a startup founder, and blah 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 blah. Right now, the person that invited me is in the room. He looks at me, and I know he wanted to run because he looked at me. He mouthed, "Tia, I'm sorry." Because he knew it was bullshit. You was just in a meeting with them last week with somebody else similar to my company, and you said everything what you wanted that they didn't have, and now I come with it, and now all of a sudden it's a no-go.
Mm. Once they meet you.
Once they meet me and see that I can actually prove and back up the shit, that the preview shit that I guess whatever he sent to them, right? So I'm like, all right, and I knew what it was, right? I'm like, okay, so what do you need? You know, what do we need to go after this land? Do you need to see a term sheet? I'm saying all this shit. Now, I came with a construction company at the time that was going to be doing some engineers. One was Italian, one was black, okay? So the Italian guy, after this motherfucker say no to everything that I'm asking or saying, the Italian guy says exactly the same shit that I'm saying in his Italian white male voice, okay? Oh, yes, that's what we need.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
We get down, and at the end of the day, I get an email, and, you know, maybe you should go apply for this land because we're taking this one off the market. So you need to go talk to these folks over here, right? So it has not been an easy road, but I've never given up. I got multiple ways to get to where I need to go, right?
Yeah.
And we done with that. We circled to, you know, right now what we doing. I went to tons of conferences again. I still got this 50 million in my pocket. I come to another opportunity. So in between that time, we decided to come up with another company called Heliplex, which is the sister company to Lucas Pop Bio. So I'm sure all you guys have been hearing about, you know, and just to make clear, Lucas Pop Bio is a medicine manufacturing company. So we make the medicines for clinical trials or the commercial market for the business customers that come and need to do business with us, okay? So we don't discover any drugs, we don't do any research and development on that end. We simply manufacture so they can have it for the clinical trials and later for the commercial market once it's approved by FDA or whoever.
So Tia, let me slow that part down just a second for our listeners, okay? So what that looks like is a company would come up with a drug, right? They would invent the chemical composition for the drug. So walk me through, let's say Tylenol. If somebody was to bring Tylenol to you, what do you now do with that pill or with that medicine?
So let me make me a co-host. I can share my screen, and we do not make Tylenol. We make biological drugs. Okay, so there's all that stuff are called chemical-based drugs, or you might hear people talking about on the news, and they're called small molecule drugs. Okay, you made me the co-host. Got it. Let me share the screen. We are different because we make biological drugs. Biological drugs are things that treat. Can y'all see this screen?
Yes.
Biological drugs are things that can be treat diseases and viruses intravenously. So this is like HIV, hepatitis, cancer, Crohn's disease, you name it. It has to be given to you either in your veins or intramuscular through your muscle, okay? These also include these drugs you've probably been hearing about that are viral and gene vector based drugs, right? So that's what biologicals are. That's what we do at Lucas Pop Bio. So we've got this timeline. Can y'all see this mouse? I know it's small.
Yeah, we can see it.
So somebody that comes up with a drug that's a biologic is over in this area, okay? They're doing all this basic research, everything's going well, whatever, right? You know, let's start testing this drug, I'll get some data back, and depending on what it says, we'll give you some more money to get to the next step, all right? Which is another ball that's supposed to be here that's not, but that's when you start doing the animal trials, okay? So per FDA, any other global regulatory agency, you have to test it on animals first, get that data back, make sure that it is not only safe in that animal, but that if it's an animal with the actual disease or virus you're trying to treat, that it's actually working, okay? And so you gotta have all this data made. Once you get that data, okay, then we have to start, you come to us and we put it in a form that we can manufacture it. Does it make sense? So let's say, you know, you bring it to me like this, but I have a better container and now it's actually usable in humans like this. That's what we do. Okay, so we actually make it usable for humans. We actually make it at a bigger scale. So it's like somebody that makes M&Ms. You bring me the M&Ms, and now I'm actually making M&M cookies. I'm making it in the form that's a little bit more palatable or edible. Okay. Once you do that, right? Once we make it and get our inventory ready for human trial testing, we submit an application. Still in this area, we're still right here. We submit an application to the FDA to say, hey, this is what we did at animal trials. We've already developed a process, you know, it's ready for us to test in humans. Here how it looks, you know, what it's in, what it looks like, here's the data on it, and we've made it the same way every time, right? Good. So FDA give us the green light. Now we can test it on humans. This is where you're testing it on humans. This is where Lucas Pi Bio sits, okay? The whole time that you're going through these tests, we're making that material for you to test in those human clinical trials. Now you see here, you got a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. These are the 3 phases of human clinical trials. Phase 1 is to test in actually healthy patients, right? To make sure there's no side effects, they are okay. It is only one disease type to date that you cannot test drugs on healthy patients, and that's cancer, of course, right? So you can't test chemo and any other drug that's doing cancer on a healthy patient. You're gonna have to find cancer patients. So they tend to be over here too. Now, again, back to something else outside of cancer, we do phase 1, it comes back safe in regular non-sick patients. We go back to the FDA, they look at the data, we ask for permission to get to phase 2, they give us the green light. Now we're making drug product for phase 2. In phase 2, we already know it's safety, but we're still monitoring, making sure it's safe. Now we're actually testing on sick patients to make sure it actually works. Okay, if it's working, are there any side effects? Do we need to change anything in the way that we make it to make it more safe or more palatable for the patient, if that makes any sense, right? And making sure they're comfortable taking it before, during, and after. Everything goes well in phase 2. Phase 2 right here, that's when you start seeing, oh my God, this is $1 billion drug and the results came great. And that's where you start to see that. Okay. During the time we go back to the FDA to get permission to go to phase 3. Phase 3 is actually looking at the patient subset that we're testing in and making sure that we have the right dose. You also may, during that time, may start investigating whether that medicine can go for children as well, right? That means you got to know the right dose. So this is all about, you know, make sure you have the precise dosage together, make sure that nothing needs to be changed in the way that we make it, and everything's gonna be good to go. Once you do phase 3, then you go back to the FDA, you file what we call a BLA, so a biological license application, okay? We file that to get permission to put it in the commercial market, okay, over this way. Now, sometimes when you get that permission from FDA and they say, yes, you can put it in the commercial market, they may also say, but it's going to be in the market for sale, but you still got to spend money on testing patients to make sure whatever problem that FDA saw is either minimized to a certain point where it's not occurring in a lot of patients or it's not occurring at all, just to get them to warm and fuzzies, okay? Then once you give them that data back, then you're good to go for the commercial market until something drastic happens. Now, what most people also don't know, right, is that once you're in the commercial market as a drug maker, now not me, but we talking about the business that came to me that for me to make it, okay? So the people that discovered it. The people that discovered it have to pay an annual fee every year that drugs in the commercial market to the FDA. Ooh. That fee is a minimum of $1.5 million to $2.5 million plus, whatever the plus is, annually. So let's say I'm over here, I'm doing the research, and I got 5 drugs, and I got to pay that 1.5 million times 5 every year. Every year, guys. So this is why these drugs are expensive. It's not all on the discoverers. It's not all on people like me that make the drug, okay, because that stuff is expensive. It is over here that is driving that price the most. And that's for anybody in the U.S. market. So if I live in Europe, China, Australia, and I make a drug and I get it approved in the FDA market, they are also paying that to FDA.
Oh, wow.
Now, this is the conversation nobody's talking about. So I just want to give y'all that picture. Now, this is Lucas Pi Bio. So you see how long it takes, right? it takes 15 years, all right, to get a drug to market. Lucas popped by with the way we do our business. We had the ability to cut it in half till about 6 to 7 years, okay? But then I had to come up with something a little bit earlier to help these research guys out. They don't have a lot of things in order. It's very hard to have the conversation for them to understand what needs to be done to their drug to get them over here, even in clinical trials and later commercial market. So we came up with a company called Heliplex. So you've probably been hearing about wet lab space and we need more lab space and blah, blah, blah. I'm a keynote speaker for a conference that's happening in DC next week for this very topic. So you have plenty of these wet labs and all that. And this is to what we talked about earlier, Kira and Erica, about everybody's basically making more money off life sciences than people actually in the industry. And it's the real estate cats. The real estate are buying up all these buildings, they're renovating them, they're upfitting them, what we call it, and they put in this laboratory space and they're like, okay, you come here and you pay rent. The rent is damn near $3,000 a month, okay? But this the catch. It ain't no different than what you get for an apartment, $3,000 a month. When you move to an apartment, I don't care where you live at, does that mean you have everything?
None of
Got
that.
stove, a tub, a toilet,
Basics.
microwave, some carpet, a space to put your furniture, right? Ain't no furniture in there. Well, imagine coming to a lab space, you got to pay $3,000 a month, okay? They give what we call the basics, a incubator, temperature controlled chamber, a cryo freezer. You familiar with cryo freezers, right? That freeze things below zero. And they may give you a centrifuge, which is something that spins things down and compacts it, right? But that is not enough for you to do any type of work with to get your drug into the commercial market. So to put it simple, everything they do over here, we don't do over here. We have to take what they do and translate it to get it to the point, meaning scale it, put it in the proper formulation so it can actually be used in human clinical trials in the commercial market. And they don't understand the language. To get this to a point over here where it can be used over here is $15 million. And look what I said, to get this over here, to actually be used over here is $15 million. Now, once it gets to me, now I got to make it, right? I've translated the language. Now we have to actually produce that language at a machine pace. That's another $15 million to make enough material for phase 1. And it goes up. And that's $15 million minimum, because it's also depending on what disease you're going to have, and how many patients FDA requires you to have, all that. So essentially, it takes about $30 million to get to phase 1. So Heliplex comes along, and now we're giving you the tools to help cut your shit in half. So when you come over here to me, all I'm doing is literally copying and pasting your data and your files to put in the format that I need, and the recipe's already done. We're allowing you to start making your recipe for human trials in the commercial market over here. It don't save you the whole 15 million, but it saves you about 5 million. We're working on getting that lower. So instead of 30 million, now we got you down to 25 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all inclusive, meaning when you come pay me, you're not paying me $3,000 a month, we're undercutting the market. But when you come pay me $3,000 a month, it is fully furnished.
Yeah.
No extras, utilities included, everything that you need, and a staff. You got a project manager, a mentor, you got seminars on a regular basis, and the $3,000 a month is not just for you. It's $3,000 a month for a company, minimum 2 people or maximum 2 people.
Wow.
How great is that?
Yeah.
But it's only happening like that because you got somebody from the industry that know better.
Right.
My real estate folks is the one who owns this whole, don't make no sense, right?
Right.
Simple solutions.
And that's what I mean by simple solutions.
That's brilliant.
But I can't be completely defensive of my peers in my industry because it is partly our fault. We're not communicating that. We're not translating this into courses into the university system so that they can understand it, right?
Right.
So big pharma and my peers in this industry, unfortunately, have been gatekeepers in not allowing that to happen. Then what happens? People get disinterested, or they do what? They keep their head in the books for the rest of their lives. They stay at universities and colleges tinkering with shit in this basic ass lab, with old ass equipment, even though the school is getting a ton of funding. It ain't going to the lab, it's going to somebody's pockets. And it's not just predominantly white PWI institutions that are doing this. my HBU peers are doing this, and they're doing it sometimes even worse. This is what it means to be Black. Coming up with solutions, trying to be Captain Samuel, but still trying to keep your integrity and making sure that you get recognized and are rewarded for it, in our case, monetarily, for what you want to be rewarded for, to give you the bang for your buck, to make you feel like you're really making a difference without compromising yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So Tia, I want to double back a little bit. So as a 20-year educator and really looking at a defected system that a lot of our young scholars are unfortunately exposed to, I was really kind of paying attention to your story, your beginning, your foundation, where you stated that your mom started really early to, you know, kind of build that foundation. And through the conversation, I continuously heard where you were able to reflect back to your beginnings. So as a school leader and a person who wants to begin to create better for our kids, what are some other really key points that you would kind of, or some tidbits that you would give me to begin to start putting things into our kids so that they can begin to go in this direction? And I really like the key of, we sometimes keep our head in the books too long. So just thinking about young scholars, kindergarten through 8th grade, what are some things that we can begin to do, you know, to help them to begin to understand these different systems?
I would say, you know, we all need a village, right? They say it takes a village to raise a kid. It is still true in the school system. And what I do, I need a team, we need a village. So on a smaller scale for educators, you know, I know y'all spend a ton of money on outside supplies and access for your students. The other thing that will be useful is use the people in your network. If your friend is a doctor and lives in the same city or state, don't put so much pressure on the kids. Say, hey, let your parents come in and talk about their jobs or blah, 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 blah. Ask the people in your network to come talk to these kids. Ask the people in your network if the companies that they work for, whatever, has something where it would allow kids to take a tour and see it for their own eyes, right? Or if they can't go see it for their own eyes, does that company have some type of video that's more than likely already on YouTube? I don't care what industry you're in, right? There is something on YouTube for free that a teacher can pull up to prep for them to either eventually meet their friend in your network or go to meet their friend in your network on site. These are the extra things that we have to do, unfortunately, because there's not enough money being spent on education. Not everybody can go to a private school. Not every teacher has the bandwidth to start school.
Yes.
Right? That is it's not that it's not attainable, but it is somewhat. It's a huge task. Just like what I'm doing is a huge task, right? And you can do it, great. But in the meantime, use your network to speak to these kids and let them know what's real and what's going on and how they need to move about. Don't have that person that comes in from wherever they come in just telling them, oh, I got this degree and I did this. No, and I'm not saying don't tell them all shit I just said, right? That might scare them. But make sure that y'all had a conversation to break it down to them so they can really understand, okay, you have options. Don't compromise yourself. You know, when you feel like you're ready to take the step, take the step. Don't let nobody tell you you ain't ready. I don't even care if it's your parent, because here's a good example. All of our parents at some point, we're going to talk about it. You had a conversation about sex, right? And all your parents, you know, for girls, I can't speak for boys, but for girls, you know, you told that, oh, well, you're not going to be ready yet, but just in case something happens, right? You know that you can tell me what happened, or you know that you need a condom, but tell him to put on the condom, and then now you got the morning after pill, so I'm assuming that's included in the conversation now.
Right.
You know, you can take your ass to Rite Aid and go get this pill. What is it? I don't know, $20, $30. I'll make sure you have this on your Visa card. These kids are like adults now. I'll make sure you got $30 on your card. So if anything happens, you go get that damn pill. And hopefully the same conversations happen with the son. Some happen, make sure you have that condom. If you don't, I'll make sure you have this money to go get that condom. Make sure you have this money to go pay for that girl to get the morning after pill, if that's the case. All these things. So what I'm saying is, have that conversation with them to say, you know, even though I don't feel like you're ready, or your teacher may not feel like you're ready, or your boss may not feel like you're ready, here's some things you can do to prepare yourself to take that step and feel comfortable.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what needs to happen. As Black people, we stay waiting on permission. We stay waiting on permission. As soon as somebody come to you and say, you're not ready, you need soft skills, you need to lead leaders, you don't look appropriate.
Yes.
You don't look like what we see at the table. Fuck that. I don't need to look like them at the table.
Yeah.
Y'all need to look like me at the goddamn.
Come on now. I just brought out my highlighter. Come on.
And own your shit. Don't, you know, when you know your shit and you at the table or you in that meeting or you in that huddle on the manufacturing floor, hell, I don't give a fuck this McDonald's. If you on the floor at McDonald's and y'all having some meeting and they saying XYZ and you know something ain't right, fucking speak up.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about telling someone, but I'm saying if they say something that is against the rule book or whatever, I don't give a fuck, it's your supervisor, whatever, fucking say something. Hey, I know you just told us that, you know, and I'm making this up, so don't quote me. You know, we need to remember to make sure that the burgers are 25 degrees, but that's not really true. The burgers need to be 25.6 degrees.
Yes.
And he may say, oh, that ain't important. But it is. Because when the health inspection come there and you stopping at 25 degrees, guess who getting fired? And ain't Joe the manager, it's your ass that was flipping them damn burgers.
Right.
So speak up, own your shit, know your shit. Then you need to assess where you at and see where you need to go to apply that knowledge. You can't just stay in this bubble and only apply that because you feel comfortable and everybody that you know all the answers and all that shit. I know it feels great. I've been there before. But you have to step out. You have to step out and you have to move forward. And because if you don't, you're going to look up from that book one day and you still sit in the same goddamn seat and you don't know nobody around you because everybody else has moved on.
All right. Thank you, Tia. Woo.
One thing I wanted to circle back to, Tia, because you gave us a lot today, and I want to thank you for that, is the fact that you kept referencing your faith. You kept saying that you asked the universe, you asked God, you asked for something. And you recognize that at the end of the road, the reason you had nowhere else to go is because you were exactly where you were promised to be.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
So for those of us that are listening in, and I do want you all to keep following Tia's story because her trajectory is amazing. But the fact that you recognize that nothing was being done in an area that you knew inside and out and had the courage to step out there and say, oh, that's right, it's missing me. That's the problem. It's not all these other people being wrong. It's not that they won't give me a chance. They don't know what I know and they don't see the opportunity that I see. I have to do it.
And you know what? That ain't even new. Watch the documentary on Michael Jordan. He tells the same damn story from an athlete's point of view of him arguing with the coaching staff, of him doing everything he had to do with his teammates to get him on board, or him helping the coach manage his teammates like a Rodman, or what was the other guy's name? I'm looking right now. Big Nose. I hate to call him Big Nose. Pippen. When you watch that documentary, it is the same thing. Or even better, watch the documentary on Master P. That's no records. Same story every time. We saw that we can do this too, but we saw one thing they weren't doing, and so we added it. Rough Riders saw that, okay, music is cool, and okay, this white man trying to work the fuck out of us, so we're gonna start our own label. And you know, to get prepared to get everybody on, because we have so many people that like to ride bikes around us, we're gonna add that to the label and make a movement about that. So every city we go to, when we did a concert, Rough Riders were there. They were a part of us, right? Master P, he fucked the game up. Them white boys was mad as hell. They fucked around, gave him a distribution deal. A black man helped him with that, right? Out of Houston, I forgot his name. He just worked with Scarface and all that. He helped them and told him, dude, this is what you need to do. You want to be like me, find you a distribution deal. This who gave my distribution deal. Go talk to them. Master P wrote that shit like a book. When he talked to him, got the deal, but then this is how he flipped it, right? They gave him a distribution deal, period, for his company. He gave him a distribution deal for Percy Miller. So Master P said, oh, well, my company, it ain't just me. I got 20 motherfuckers who can rap.
Yeah.
So he did, that's why he had an album coming out every fucking month. And they came to him and they came back and they said, hey, man, we gave you, the distribution deal. We're willing to take 20% from, you, but we need some more money over here. That's not what we had on paper. And if you don't stop, we're going to file charges, da-da-da-da. You know what Master P said? Fuck you and kiss my ass. You did it, literally, fuck you and kiss my ass. You did the deal with this. As a matter of fact, you ain't gave me, that motherfucker gave a list of what they didn't give him. I ain't got no motherfucking office. I ain't got this. I ain't got that. They called him back in 2 weeks. Here's the address to your office, and you apologize. Right? We don't want to end the relationship. So See what happens when you speak your mind, because you know you're an expert at what you do, and you
Come
create
on.
your own path. All those stories, they created their own path.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
I absolutely love it, Tia. So the very last question I'm going to ask is, you're on your way. Your goal was 150 million. You're at 50 million now. What does support for your businesses? Because now you've got two, look like. How can women continue to support you?
Right now, just continue to talk about me and bring up my name. Continue to provide platforms like this where I can speak. When it does come back around and we start raising money again, mention my name and send it to the website. And if we decide to do a crowdfunding campaign at that point, you know, have some people buy in at that. I think they can, at minimum for equity crowdfunding raise, they do like $200, $250. I don't care if 5 people put together $250, then do that shit.
Yeah.
When people like me get established and we bring out these jobs and all that, it's not just me. It's the community. It's the community has an opportunity post this COVID-19. A lot of our Black and brown people, they ain't got no jobs. Whether we get out of quarantine or not, the job is done. They've already snatched the $600 from unemployment. But guess what? These same people are living off of $198, $200 a week.
Yes.
And they're not getting a job. And it's not their fault that they're not getting a job. But the problem is because of our circumstances, and I'm not even talking about the traditional education, just having opportunities to something like a Lucas Pie Bio and get a job there is not there. I just told you, when we build factories, these factories are way out from the city. So that means you're taking about an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hour public transportation ride, bus and train to get to that opportunity, right? So since you already know that that's far and far in between, let's help our community get to the point where they can go after these jobs. All right, now I'm purposely doing mine a little bit closer because I've been that person. When I went to go work in LA and I got the green light, I went to go get that job at Amgen that I told y'all about. I had to take a Amtrak train. It was 3.5, 4 hours one way. And I went, and it was a contract job, so I went to this hiring office. And the first question they asked, they said, "Do you got reliable transportation?" I looked them dead in the eye. "Yes, sir." Yeah. And that's what I need y'all to do.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Don't let nobody know your circumstances that don't need to know. Do what you need to do to get where you want to go. So I lied. And then I had to time it because the time I got there, their office was getting ready to close. And the bus stop where I had to go was like right behind the dude's car. Mm-hmm. So I had to mess around, go somewhere else, watch him get in the car and leave, and get to that bus stop on time, because if I didn't get the bus to get to the train station on time, I would be there at the train station overnight. These are the things that y'all got to start thinking about. It's bigger than just surviving. It's doing what you need to do to get to the next point. And I got the job. I rented a car for that whole year. And I ain't renting no nice car. I'll never forget. It's in North Hollywood. I bet you still there to this day. It's called Rent a Wreck. Rent a Wreck. Boy, it was a Nissan Sentra, that old school box. That shit was dented from every end it could be. And I rode that bitch to work, hour and a half from North Hollywood to Amgen 5 days a week without a care in the world, and was doing overtime on top of that just so I can stack and get to where we need to go. And then when I finally got at Baxter, shit, after a month or so being there, I bought my car, right? So all these things, let's raise each other up as a community so we can get ready for this next tranche of African American living and identity, because we at a make it or break it point. If we don't get through this next tranche, all that shit about community college, all them opportunities, you know, whether Trump gets back in office or whether Biden gets back, and take care of ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. This is the segue in the call that we like to circle back to what Tia just mentioned, which is our mission. I can't thank you enough, Tia, for all of these gems and that closeout, girl. Literally. And it's funny because when you were speaking, I was thinking about that Michael Jordan bio that I just watched. You are him. You are him. It's the same spirit and tenacity. That last piece is the most important tidbit. Past life, I was an HR director, and that piece about the question of, do you have reliable transportation? It's always yes.
Always.
Yes. It's always yes.
You know why? Because whether or not you got a car, who reliable for you getting your ass to work? You. The car can break down, whatever. Your ass better be like Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith.
Kids are walking.
And he walked back with no shoe. That's how you got to be. That's another movie your ass need to watch if you ain't watching. I'm just like,
And with
I
that,
come in there, no shoe on. When I went for the interview, or no, the first day, contract job in Philly, that last job, I was driving, and you should not get McDonald's breakfast when you gotta go make an appearance. You put that jelly in that shit, and what it do? Every time you take that bite, slap. And that was the first time I came to work like that because I had just moved to Jersey, so I hadn't found a barber. So my hair was looking crazy. I come in, shirt kind of wrinkled, and strawberry jelly on that motherfucker. And they were, I come to the thing, and they're like, "Ma'am, how can we help you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm Tia. This is my first day at work." They're like, "You Tia?" It's like, "Yeah." Sure, what the fuck, crazy? I ain't give a fuck.
I'm here.
And look, it could have been this too, but it's also like, well, shit, you had to come in looking like that. Like, I sure did.
I did.
Here.
You know my struggle. I love it. Well, our mission here at Blvck Womxn Worldwide as a charitable nonprofit startup is we were established for the education, advancement, mentorship, and wellness, as well as financial success of Black women in every walk of life. We did recognize COVID-19 as the largest disruptor to the status quo in our lifetime. So during this global pandemic, a team of brilliant Black women analyzed the existing realities of millions of Black women across the globe. And what we found out is our pain and our frustrations are not isolated. So using a global lens, we seek to develop the technology necessary to protect and support all Black women and our eventual sustainable. The approach that we use is tech and teamwork to create the first global database of this kind. We will connect individual Black women just like today and our children with solutions powered by Black women using our mobile phones. We intend to break barriers for Black women-owned brands and businesses through education, capacity building, community, and connection. And finally, building bridges that repurpose the $1 trillion annual Black spend for the personal and professional development of Black women worldwide. So every Saturday, we join here with a new Black woman in an industry that you don't necessarily hear about much. As Tia mentioned, we are doing a lot behind the scenes without recognition or credit or compensation. And these are the platforms that we need to highlight those talents and those skills. So please get involved with us. Our website is www.blvck, spelled BLVCK, women, spelled WOMXN, worldwide.org. Register, tell your girls to register, and donate. To Tia's point, it takes a village, and we have a lot of Black women that are looking for resources. When we put our money together, we can do anything right here inside of the sisterhood. We ask you guys to seek and connect with one another out in the world. When you see a Black woman doing something, ask her about what she has going on and make sure that you support. And finally, tell our story. Let folks know that Black Womxn Worldwide is here. We are here for all Black women across the world. And if there's something that you have going on, we want to hear about it. So I definitely want to thank Tia and everyone that's listening in and popped on for our live recording today for your time. This has been absolutely phenomenal. So we want you guys to have an amazing week, and we'll see you same time next Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
This has
Tia.
been amazing. All right, Tia. So this will be posted on our YouTube channel within the next coming weeks. We will continue to promote, and I want to officially invite you to let us know any information or news that you have coming up. We will post it on the website. Keep us abreast of where you are in your fund development or any major goals that you have coming up so we can have Black women support. If there's a GoFundMe or anything like that, we'll post that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I definitely enjoyed myself, so I hope you enjoyed it.
We did. We had a ball. Does anyone on the call have any questions for Tia while we have her?
Don't be shy. Ask me whatever you want to ask me. I'm gonna give it to you.
You gave us so much.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You got any?
Can you hear me well?
Yes, Cameron.
I'm new to this group, but I just jumped on because I'm a biochemist. I'm doing pancreatic cancer research. I'm getting my head out of the book, as Tia mentioned. And one quick question that I had for you is, how does a person get involved in what do you have to do to qualify for space at Heliplex if you wanted to do some basic science research?
Well, I mean, this part is you made it known that you wanted an opportunity at Heliplex. So that's the first step that sometimes we forget. We say we want to do something, but you ain't talking to nobody there that's gonna help you get in there, right? Or don't have access. So I'm very accessible. I'm always on LinkedIn. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Heliplex, we are working on getting a commercial real estate situation confirmed, hopefully in the next few months or so. Once that get confirmed, we have a date where we're gonna start construction. Then during that time, we will start hiring. So for Heliplex, there'll be a lot of opportunity for somebody like yourself. You know, either work in a wet lab, lead that lab, or work in the small scale facility and lead that facility. It'll also be maker space, what we call it, so 3D printers and stuff like that. So you'll have an all-around thing. When you come in, you will receive some type of paid training for your position. Will be full benefits and all that. So get connected with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message so I can keep up with you. And then when that time comes, I'll know who to go to say, all right, you ready to make this move. And that will be located in Philadelphia as well. So you will be able to be willing to relocate. Where are you located at? You don't mind me asking? What city, what state?
Right now, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. You ain't that far.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, definitely keep up with me. And I'm very hands-on when it comes to hiring. I know they probably get on my people's nerves, but I'm all about hiring good, quality, personable people. And so you should know, like myself, Raina, sometimes us nerds, you know, our heads out the book, we're still like, oh my God, don't touch me. Well, need that. You're gonna have to be personable, regardless. Because a lot of people coming into Heliplex, right? They spend our company, they're gonna be some, oh my God. And so it's gonna take some time to break through that. And you gotta be comfortable with that. And
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Good. And own your shit. Don't apologize for correcting me if I say something wrong or whatever, because I've been out the lab many, many years. And then more recently out of the manufacturing floor. So if I say something wrong, whatever you see something else, correct me. I ain't got no shame. I'm wrong.
Right. Yeah, all right, so that's my quick question and introduction. Thank you guys for doing this. I will connect with Tia, but I want to connect with everyone that's here today too. If you guys don't mind, I'll send you invites on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, absolutely, Raina. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, ladies?
If anybody got kids, you want them to hear something or look at something, don't be afraid to reach out. I love working with kids, all ages. I always can find something for them to do. Hopefully maybe regular class, or if they're in virtual, you need to pop in virtual. I have no problem talking to the kids and letting them know what's going on.
I will be taking you up on it, Tia. Promise you.
I was just going to say, I'm about to call you on that one. How young did
I came up from you, like you don't say. Wait a minute.
How young do I take the kids?
Yeah.
I probably won't go no younger than around 3rd grade. You know, just so they can have, even if it's like what they call it, we used to call it GAC, but that GUI stuff, so they have some type of understanding. But preferably, I love middle school and high school, because around that time you are talking about DNA and cells and physics and stuff like that, and so they can understand it really well. And it looks crazy for somebody that looks like me to be saying this. They're like, oh my God. You get twofold, right? You get someone that's never been exposed to it, and then the people that you think ain't paying attention to your class, they don't want to start interacting with me. Like, oh shit, he did know what that means. He or she was just scared. So I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do that. All right, ladies. Well, I want you all to have a beautiful Saturday. Thank you so much for kicking it with us at Blvck Womxn Worldwide. You can stop by the website, and we'll be here same time, same station next week. Pop in, ask questions, get involved, ladies.